Being an introvert is not an excuse for you to ignore your trauma, because the issue is trauma. The issue is not the fact that you are an introvert, because the introverts who have no trauma, they are able to be loud if they have to be loud. An introvert without any trauma is able to hold a speech in front of hundreds of people if they have to. But an introvert and even an extrovert that has trauma, it will be very hard for them to express themselves socially, right? Your trauma might have started when you were a kid. Let's say your parents shouted at you because you were too loud one time, and it wasn't even their fault for creating this trauma, because maybe the circumstances were just inappropriate for you to be so loud. Maybe you were in a church or something. And then you, with your baby brain, thought to yourself, well, if I'm loud, they yell at me. If they yell at me, that means they don't like me, they will leave me alone. If I'm alone, I'm just a baby and I'm gonna die. In conclusion, being loud equals death. You have to realize that, and you do actually realize that you are not a baby anymore, and that scenario was not true back then and is not true right now, but you can see it right now with the eyes of an adult. This belief system that you are socially awkward because you are an introvert is not only wrong, but it's detrimental. It's a liability to your life, because it reinforces you to act like that. It gives you a reason. If you adopt the belief system that being an introvert is not an excuse for you to be socially awkward, then you will acknowledge social awkwardness as not being okay, even if you're an introvert. But with this belief system that you probably have, you're validating your insecurities and your trauma as being something normal. And it's not something normal, it's something you must escape from. Now, an interesting thing is that although you see yourself as a socially awkward person, there are probably situations when you don't feel that social anxiety. And those might be around people you deem as being lower status than you. You have no social anxiety around them. But when you go and spend time with people that you deem as being higher status than you, that's when the social anxiety starts. Very interesting, right? So in a weird way, your mind gives you permission to not be socially awkward, to be 100% authentic and unfiltered when you're around these lower status people. But your mind does not allow you to be like that when you're around the higher status people. So realize that it's you who gives yourself permission anyway. So choose to give yourself the permission to be authentic consciously. Make it a conscious choice. Don't leave it as something that just happens randomly and you have no control over it. Once you escape the trap of feeling social anxiety, that doesn't mean you have to spend all day with people. No, like being an introvert is okay, as I told you. Moreover, in my opinion, being an introvert is an asset, because you don't need to spend a lot of time with people, so you can isolate yourself and work deeply on something you have to work on. Now, there are 3 steps to escape this situation that you're in right now. The first one, and the most important one, is letting go of the trauma. Because imagine, this is you, right? This is your authentic self. And there is a bunch of trauma here. And then this is your conscious mind, the way you behave. And if you try to change the way you behave, you first have to remove the garbage in order to build up from the bottom. But if you'll try to build up on top of the trauma, your trauma will always surface. So how do you let go of the trauma? There is a very powerful practice called the practice of letting go, which I spoke about in a previous video. The idea is to acknowledge what you want to let go of, the feeling that you want to let go of, and then allow yourself to feel it fully. And you can dive deep within your subconscious, identify the root of your issues, of your trauma, and let go of it. And then you will be free. Now, after you let go of all the trauma, all the garbage that is down here, you have to update your self-beliefs. So let's say these are your beliefs. So what you have to start believing is that being socially awkward is not okay. Being socially awkward is not okay, even if you're an introvert, even if you're an extrovert. Because this social anxiety only stands for trauma, as I told you. And you can update your set of beliefs through introspection, and you can actually conduct journaling practices in order to achieve this. And now, after you let go of the trauma and update your belief systems, what might be useful for you to do is develop some basic social skills. Don't overcomplicate it, just learn the basics of how to be yourself actually socially. But I don't even think this is a mandatory thing once you let go of everything there is to let go of regarding your social life. Because what you will find is that you have the social skills already. Like, I believe social skills are a bit of a scam, to be honest. Because if you don't have social trauma, then it's gonna be very easy for you to go ahead and socialize with every single human being you find. So just implement these steps and you'll see the change.